Welcome to the Libra podcast, where education leaders explore the intersection of culture, strategy, and innovation in today's schools. I'm your host, Nate Lichte, and in each episode, we'll uncover the leadership habits, systems, and bold ideas that help districts thrive. Well, Brad, thanks so much for sitting down and taking some time with us today. Would you mind maybe introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about your district?
Yes, my name is Brad Lusk. I guess the official name that they might call me around is, it's Dr. Bradford Lusk. I'm the superintendent of Hamilton Community Schools. I have been there for this is my fourth year in the role. So it's going great. I really enjoy it.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about Hamilton, the community, where you're located, how many students you have, what's the district like there?
So Hamilton Community Schools it's a little unique. And I say that in that we are we're kind of a decent size when you compare to other school districts around us. We're in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a little southwest of Grand Rapids in Michigan. It's a rural community and it's a pretty conservative community. But what comes with that is not, it's very conservative community. But what comes with that is oftentimes you may have conservative values, and that might bleed over into educational or way of life and so on. I can't say that that's necessarily true in the school district. And for a kid, the community is not afraid to be a little cutting edge. So it's a very interesting, where you might have a stereotype that it would be very old school or traditional in one way. Traditions are important, but the community and the staff are not afraid to be a little cutting edge on that. So with that being said about Hamilton, we're about a little over 2,900 students. With that, we're about 2,500 traditional students, which means that we have about, between 400 and 500, somewhere in that range, students that are FTE full-time equivalents of students, but they are composed of our virtual and or our homeschool program.
Oh, wow.
So that's where a little bit of that non-traditional and cutting edge comes in. So we're not just a traditional school district, K-12 and so on. The past couple of years, about a handful of years ago, 6-7 years ago, we added that homeschool virtual school component, which captured a number of students. We have probably somewhere total people, around 1,400, 1,500 kids that are involved in that program.
Wow.
We recently have increased our early childhood center to have 4 classrooms in there, which has been great. And we've also recently added our before and after school care because the community does not have a traditional government per se. We're a city of Hamilton. We're composed of townships. So the joke and probably honest truth is, I'm the superintendent, but I'm also kind of the mayor. So if there's a parade to be had, I'm the cab putting the parade on. So we just had our Hawkeye hometown tailgate last week. They had about 3,000 people that came into town. It's 100% free, 42 sponsors. They fund it all. It's great.
Wow. That community involvement is so cool. That's one of the things I just love about rural districts. They have these unique community engagement between the district and the district sort of takes on a different role, like you being sort of the pseudo mayor in this sort of town. So how did you get into education? What led to the superintendency? Tell us a little bit about your background and how all these cards put us on to place.
So a little interesting story per se. We all have those. So coming out of high school, I was kind of your jock, if you will. I wanted to wrestle in college. And so football and wrestling were kind of my thing. And so I guess I won a couple more matches than I lost. And so I had an opportunity to look at some D1 wrestling in Michigan came and was offered a walk-on position for me. So I was able to walk on for the wrestling team at University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. And when I got there, it was really great because I was in a decent sized high school, 1,100 kids high school in Michigan. It was small to us, but compared to others, I guess it was a little bit bigger size, good school. But when I got there, education was different. And I found that I'd step up my game a little bit. And so that was good for me to push myself. And I think that academic the athletic background, we talk about grit. A lot of people talk about grit is find a way. And I really believe in that Marine mentality of improvise, adapt, and overcome. And so it was one of those I had to step up myself academically and personally to rise to the challenge. And so wrestling lasted a short time period. I didn't really like it, but I like coaching. And so I started playing rugby the rest of the time for Michigan. Loved it. And when I started looking at it, I kind of went with the science background, maybe some type of the medicine piece, the traditional kid that wanted to be the quote unquote doctor. If it turned out a different kind, but I liked coaching. And so that kind of led me into the Department of Education at U of M, which if you know much about U of M, the Department of Ed's not a hotbed. Not many people go there for that. So the tens and tens of people that I was in the college with, probably few of us actually went into education. I know some were going into museum curation and other aspects of it, but I enjoyed it. So I did my student teaching in Plymouth-Salem, did coaching along that way, and then graduated and found myself working in West Michigan at Granville High School. Got a teaching job, coaching job. Life was good. Single guy, living the dream per se. And then life changed after that pretty quick. Got married, got my master's. I taught for 4 years.
Wow.
And I had the opportunity to become an assistant principal at Granville High School. So 4 in the classroom. Then I became 4 years as AP at Granville. That high school was about 1,850 kids. So it was much bigger than my high school that I grew up in, but smaller than the Plymouth Canton, which had 3 high schools. So we were talking 4,000 or 5,000 kids between the 3 high schools. So I did that for a number of years. I coached rugby, wrestling, football at Granville. I liked it. Even when I was assistant principal, they let me coach rugby. That was my passion. And then the opportunity came to become a high school principal at Fowlerville High School. So my journey was in Heartland was a little mid-Michigan. Ann Arbor was east side. Granville was west side. And then Fowlerville was back to mid-Michigan. Did that for 10 years. I will say that is about year 5. I had applied for some jobs. Didn't land them. A little humbling, to some extent.
Yeah, certainly.
But then I found my high school, Fowlerville, was treating me well. And I had to do some soul searching as to what am I doing? If you have a place that's treating you well, the culture's great, they believe in you, the grass is not always greener type of thing. So I did another 5 years there to make 10 years. And at that point, there was an opportunity in West Michigan. That's where my wife was from. Her parents are there. We were close with them. And there's an opportunity to bring my family back to West Michigan. I had 2 kids at the time.
Yeah.
Hard move, moving kids.
Yeah.
Doing that again. So, but it was an opportunity to come into a community that was similar size to Fowlerville. I mean, it was rural, community-based, very similar, conservative. It was very similar. And I liked that. And it was one of those that it came to appreciate things differently.
Absolutely. So I want to go back a little bit. So you mentioned something that was interesting, sort of a philosophy, the improve, adapt, and overcome. So talk to me a little bit about how that weaves into your educational leadership journey and how that applies to the district today.
So, I kind of joke. I'm not smart enough to be anybody but myself. And so I love quotes. I'm one of those, as you get older, you learn more about yourself. And one of the things I learned is I love quotes. And so my first year of teaching, I had an opportunity, and I assume they still do it. I don't know for sure, but a lot of the branches of the service will actually take you out if you have impact on students. And they actually flew me out to Camp Pendleton out in California for a week. And I stayed right on the base. I mean, you're on the base. You got to see everything. You have to go through the whole 9 yards. And they had that plastered everywhere. Improvise, adapt, overcome. And essentially their idea is failure's not an option. Yeah. You win. And so I was like, that hits home. And that hits my philosophy of you can make mistakes, then that's fine. I think you learn a lot from mistakes in life, but failure's not an option, because failure is when you choose to quit. And so at that point, I get into education and I work with people, and I try to model, I always say, do as I say, not as I do, because that makes sure you have a good work-life balance and you get 8 hours of sleep a night. Don't do as I do. But the thing is that sometimes you do need to have some bumpy roads, because then you find solutions. And creativity can kind of come out of scarcity sometimes. And I think that's where some people need to learn that and count on themselves and realize you can probably go farther than you think you can. And so when I bring that to our district, we're all going to make mistakes. That's fine. How do you support somebody else to make sure that they grow from it, they learn from it? And if you think you're not going to make mistakes, then you're really not trying hard enough. And so you're not pushing yourself. And so that's something that we really breathe here, is that, you can make a mistake. That's fine. Learn from it, move forward, onward and upward, just as we always say. But you're going to overcome the obstacle. It's not going to bring you down. I would say I had a shift about 5-7 years ago. Again, another quote. It challenges. Things happen in life. And when I don't know what it was, I had an epiphany one day, and I really switched my mind from thinking, another bump in the road or another thing, whatever, and really looked every opportunity, every challenge is an opportunity to show off or to do better. And so if you really look at every challenge as an opportunity to get better or to improve something, it's just a different way of looking at life. And it provides more opportunity, more optimism. And I think it breeds more positivity to others, rather than, I got to do this. No, you get to do this. And there's an opportunity for you to shine. So it's your choice.
When you entered and joined Hamilton Community Schools, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced while transitioning into the district?
So for anybody that has moved their family, you have a couple different things. Not only got the job, but you got your family. You get to transition through that piece on there. So I like to think of my father first, but the same token, I also have hundreds of people that look to me every day to make sure things are rolling smooth. So, you got to take care of home first. And that's something that we still, I would see every day is a challenge. You keep moving forward on that. So when I came to Hamilton, it was in a little bit of a different spot than some others. COVID didn't treat it well, not that it treated well to others, but it was in a little bit of transition with the previous superintendent had been there a long time, 11 plus years. And they have not ended on the highest of notes on there. There was some lack of trust, some brokenness in the community. And so enrollment had dropped about 200 kids.
Wow.
There was some guidance, mistrust, lack of support for the school. And it wasn't necessarily just school community. It could have been between administration and staff, with board in the community. It was a little bit of a web on some things. And I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, but it was a little bit of an interesting situation. I can't say that I really knew all the intricacies when I came in, but when I got in there, I really came in with the listen to learn to lead piece on there. And I stress that a lot, because I really believe the U of M grad, I really believe in I was going to take the Jim Harbaugh approach, not the Rich Rod approach of making the program fit my scheme, but I'm going to try to adapt to what we have to make it the best that it is. It's easier for one person to use leadership to guide a district and assess where we're at to make it work, rather than I'm going to come in and overhaul everything to what I want it to be.
Yeah.
Because I just see schools, it's not what I want it to be. It's not me. It's a community. I help lead a district. It's going to work within the community structure and what they're looking for and what they want. People move here for a reason. They didn't move here for me. And so I'm here to help guide this district to be the best it can be. Yeah, I have my personal thoughts. I have my personal things I want to work with, but to shape it to what I want it to be, it doesn't work out very well.
Yeah. How would you, so you mentioned kind of some, maybe a little bit of tension between the community and the district and then administration to, teachers and other internal folks. How did you go about kind of building trust with these diverse stakeholders across the district?
That's a very good question. And that's something where I can't say that I came in with a true game plan per se, the old checklist thing, but I will tell you some of the most powerful things I did is when I came in, the school board was optimistic. Like, hey, this is our chance. We can bring in somebody fresh and go forward with it. So the school board gave me 40 names of parents that would be good parents to talk with. So between July 1st, when I started, and school started August 20th, or whatever the case was, I met with 40 families.
Wow.
All in my office or down to the coffee shop, or one guy wanted to go drive his truck, which is a little different. But we drove around his truck for 15, 20 minutes to somebody who was at their job. They wanted to show me their work because they worked at like a nature preserve. So we rolled around on a golf cart for about an hour, just shooting the breeze. And that's when I really came to appreciate the community. And I was feeling like I could fit in. It was all on authenticity.
Yeah.
And I told all of them, I'm not here to blow smoke. I'm here to make it work. And another quote from old Lou Holtz. I love Notre Dame football. When you win. And in order to win, what's important now? And you got to put things in perspective. And so when I came in, it was being authentic. It was meeting with people, but also meeting people where they're at.
Yeah.
And that ranges, as you know. It's not just meeting John and Shirley in your office and telling them what you're going to do. You got to ask them what they're looking for. And what are misconceptions you have? What are some ideas? What are some concerns? And listening to them. So that honestly was very time consuming, but extremely beneficial. I think I got a long way in the community on doing that because, I heard people saying, the soup called me up. I don't know who his cat is, but he sat with me and talked with me and I didn't set up 10-minute interviews, 20 minutes. It was as long as they wanted, somewhere an hour, whatever they wanted. It was for them and for me to get a better idea. So those were really powerful, being transparent with them and communication. I tell everybody, you might not agree with my decision, but I owe it to you to explain it. Mm-hmm. I'll explain my decision. So you know that. And then the last thing I do is I get a little flack for it, but I do this scoop of the soup twice a month down to the local ice cream shop in town. It's a small town, and twice a month for an hour. I go down there every other Thursday. I pop in for an hour, and anybody can come in and sit down and shoot the breeze with me for an hour. And we talk. I don't bring an agenda usually, but people bring questions. And I'll tell you, we get down to one person at our board meetings now.
Wow.
Because I've now heard them say, why would I go to a board meeting? I can just come talk to you here and you can actually answer my question rather than call the public.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you, such a cool, interesting, evolved, like how you kind of started with doing sort of this listening tour of 40 families, meeting them where they were at. When you think about where you're at the district today, tell us a little bit more about how this communication process evolved since you first became superintendent.
So the key thing, or a couple of things, is that when I came in, I've learned. I'm not smarter than anybody than myself. You have to learn. You're not the point person. Much like in a classroom, education's changed from you don't have to be the smartest person in the room. You got to work with people and know how to get information across. And so coming in, I know some of our members were looking for more data-driven people or more curriculum-based or whatnot. But a lot of it can be is, do you have people skills? Can you talk to people? And can you work with people and you help guide it? And I always call it adaptive leadership. Sometimes you just got to take it. Sometimes you got to be a little more stern. Sometimes you got to listen, let people have. So with this communication was really listening. And I told him, listen to learn to lead. I didn't talk a lot in a lot of our meetings. It was just, I wanted to hear people in even our school district talk and find out where their strengths were at. What do they talk about the most? Are they more data driven? Are they not data driven? Do they just shoot from the hip? Are they passionate? Are they here for the paycheck? Where are these people at? And just calling an ace.
Yeah.
And so I did that for quite a while. I mean, the first year, I think people thought it was a little odd that I didn't talk very much, but I wanted them to really learn and realize I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. And so when year 2 came, it was a little more in the district, learning more, leading more. Oh, you actually are doing it. I didn't say it to get the job. I mean, we're really going to make a difference on here. We're going to make their school district better. But in the community, something that I never had that would be hard to lose now is a communication instructor. And so we had a young guy that applied, and I will fully admit I misjudged our community. I thought they would want more text, more emails, newsletters, things like that submitted, and I was wrong. And so when I'm trying to push a little more text, he's doing a little bit more video, short videos, 2 to 3 minute, very consumable highlights. Because our big thing is we're winning the internet back. We're not going to let Joe Schmo sit in the basement and be the keyboard warrior. It's not happening. And he's not going to win that. And so when Zach came on, he's a quick learner. He's amazing at what he does. And so we did have a game plan on that. And that was pumping out as much positive information about our district. That went from everything from, Zach, just take pictures of kids in the hallways, skipping through the hallways or smiling, or people eat that up at home. I said, so be deliberate on mixing that up with information to feel good stories. I said, then we're going to, after a couple of years, we started transitioning to informational stories. And then we started going to historical stories. And now you do a lot of, you could go on our Facebook page and do a bunch of snow day videos and things like that. But we even transitioned that into, we did a pretty cool remake of the Mean Joe Green with the Coke commercial where he throws the jersey thing. We had 2 kids do it. They were cousins. And he's like, Brad, but this is not going to hit home with the kids. I'm like, we're not marketing to the kids. We're marketing to the older generation. And he's like, why is that? And I said, because they vote for bonds.
Yeah.
And you could see what that went off of. Oh, we're not just marketing to the people, we're doing the community. Yeah. And that's why we put community in Hamilton Community Schools. And so when you get somebody that starts, the light bulbs are going off, that's impressive. And our community is getting it. They're good people. They understand what our game plan is.
Yeah.
And I think they're understanding it. They're not buying it. I would say they're not buying it because I think that's a sell job. They're understanding it and they appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it goes back to the adage that as a leader, you've got to be the best storyteller of what's going on in the district. Because if you're not out there telling that story, somebody else is going to be telling it for you. And so the more that we can, be better practitioners and storytellers of all the great things that our teachers are doing with our students and how the community and their district join together, that begins to kind of flow and really get legs to kind of articulate the good work.
Somebody's going to fill the vacuum of the lack of knowledge. And are you going to do it or are you going to let somebody else do it?
Yeah.
And so when at the very first, the early stages, now I got to be very honest with you, I haven't had one in a while. The first 2 years, if something went out on occasion, it wasn't all the time. I can't even say it was every 10 posts or whatever. There would be a negative comment or whatnot they put on Facebook because it's easier to hide behind the keyboard. Yeah. Well, I didn't let it slide. I personally would respond to them via Facebook. Now, some will say, well, you're just taking it to social media. I did because I wanted everybody to see. I'm not going to let that happen anymore. I put my name the answer to their question, my address to my office, and my cell phone number. Call me if you have any more questions. And after you do that about 10 times, they realize that nobody ever calls. They don't want to stop by because they're being called out. And I will answer their question. And nobody ever took me up on the answer.
Yeah.
So then after a couple times, I started calling them at home because I realized your parents, they didn't like that either. So we weren't tolerating it. We're not going to let them win the internet and put out fake information. So it wasn't being bullied. It was just being honest. And if you have something to say, let me know.
Yeah.
And I think that really helped calm people down and realize this isn't going to be a free for all where you can just hop on and put everything out there for not even just your community, but anybody that's looking at your prospective students or parents to see. It's not going to fly. So we still monitor today, every post that's made. We see what people write.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good pulse. So I want to switch to sort of strategic facility planning and hear your thoughts on how you prioritize competing infrastructure needs when resources are limited. And so often they're fairly limited in rural districts. How have you sort of prioritized those in the past?
So this was, when you're listening to questions, this was one that I was like, this was an interesting question for you because frankly, in my previous two districts at Greenville and Fowlerville, we never really had a strategic plan. Now, did we have maybe some long-term infrastructural type of work that we addressed? Yeah, I'd say we had that, but we never had any strategic planning when it came to academics or longitudinal planning when it came to cycles of curriculum or whatever the case is. So when I got here, the board was very big on strategic plan, our strategic initiatives. Okay, I can adapt, I can grow on this. And so twofold, again, this is my fourth year. During year one, about 3/4 of the way through it, the board said, hey, I think we can get a bond pass. Things are going great. Awesome. What do I do? So I'd never let a bond before, a bond campaign or anything like that. So it was actually probably a little more than halfway. They started putting that out there. Long story short, they had 2 bonds that had failed previously to me. And so did we pass the bond? Yes, we passed the bond. It was not a very exciting bond. It was our largest bond in school district history at $41 million.
Wow.
To put it in perspective, there's a district next door that's going for $110 million. There's one that's next year looking at $210. So if you put that in perspective, they're much larger districts, don't get me wrong. But we'll probably look at one in probably 2029 again. But that was something where we really worked with our architect and our construction management company to look at those pieces on there. It's a very proud community. And they do take care of our resources very nicely. I will honestly say that we keep pretty good resources. The key thing is finding out where you put the money at. And I didn't want to nickel and dime things. I didn't want to pay a nickel today to spend $1 tomorrow.
Right.
That wasn't what we were going to do. We're going to do it. We're going to do it right. And that's what we've really stressed in this whole bond. The thing that I found out that I didn't know prior to the bond was we talked about that community support. A lot of local companies bid on the jobs. A lot of local companies won the jobs. A lot of local companies really underbid the jobs. So we saved a considerable amount of money compared to what the number 2, if you will, in the bid jobs was. So we were able to do a lot more than we truly anticipated doing, which was great.
Yeah.
On the academic piece, on the strategic plan, if you want me to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
We didn't do a traditional strategic plan per se. We actually call them it's a district focal plan because the key thing is they had a strategic plan from like 2017 that really never got implemented. It was probably your traditional School does it because it looks good, or they have to do it. Get put on the proverbial shelf. You blow off the dust every blue moon. You talk about it, and nothing ever got done. I'm just being honest with you. So we were really intentional on kind of making it almost a checklist.
Yeah.
And so then we really broke up into 3 different categories: short-term and long-term goals. And one of the things that I'd say probably that has been a tagline that we brought out of it was prepared for purpose. And so that's really where our district is really, people have really rallied around that kind of on their own. It wasn't something I've been pushing. They really liked that because of our offering down work-based learning and CTE options. So this prepared for purpose has kind of taken a mind of its own or a life of its own and run with it. And so we've kind of rallied around it, and that's what kind of our curriculum has become personalized for purpose. So it's not you just jumping through hoops. You're going to be prepared for life.
Yeah. So, and I know that you mentioned earlier some different pieces with personalized learning and innovation in education. How do you balance traditional education approaches with innovative learning modalities?
So when I got here, probably year 2, we had the district was a unique little situation that our central office is pretty small. I mean, it was a superintendent, a curriculum director, in like the ISD finance and ISD special ed, ISD. It was pretty small, the secretary type of thing. Payroll was the ISD and so on. So as it kind of grew a little bit, we got to a point where one person was really still doing a lot of work. And I didn't really know what the soup did all the time. Like kind of came in year 2, I kind of sat back and this one individual it was just a grinder, ton of work, a lot of work, grind the hours. But as you know, your bucket can only carry so much.
Right.
And your bandwidth is only so much. So the idea was we kind of created a different, basically a college and prep, an innovative learning role, because this person was just passionate. I mean, he started to work with our business instructor and got direct credit aligned with the local college. And when he was telling our admin group, the guy sat up and he was real excited. I'm thinking, man, this guy's passionate about this.
Yeah.
So I circled around, talked to our board, and I came back. And our board's like, do it. So I talked to him. What do you think about that being your job? Because we're really big on work-based learning. We're really big on CTE. We're really big into personalized list. And it took him some time to flush through that. And he's like, I'll do it. Since then, we have created an HVAC program in-house. We have a CDL program in-house. We have a CNA course in-house.
Wow.
We just signed up for Hope College, where we have 7 kids that are now doing early middle college to Hope. He's sitting down with the pros and all the other deans the next week or 2 to go to extend this into other areas, not just education, but into finance and business and so on and marketing. Yeah. And the goal is every kid that's going to walk out of our district, out of our high school, is going to have an opportunity to better themselves. If in the workforce or in college, you have the opportunity to do it. You will be prepared for purpose. And so you have all that. And then this whole other bubble that he works with is the virtual and homeschool, where we recognize that the traditional schools, not for everybody. It's just not. And that's not bad. And that's okay. And so not everybody walks the same. Not everybody talks the same. Not everybody's the same. And so we provide this opportunity for their kid that just need a little different opportunity or situation to learn, or their parents are in a little different situation. And so that one is a whole other ball of wax, where everything from Bookshare to a traditional MC person to whatever, we have one of the truly individualized education where we meet kids and families where they're at. Yeah. And we have a principal that is a parent of, she used to have her kids homeschooled, so she gets that and understands that world. in that thought process of parents and can work with them, which is not traditional education. So I think my meetings, I'm like, okay, I got to go in the traditional world, and I got to go in the innovative world. I got to come to the homeschool world. I'm like, woo, it's just different, and that's what varieties the spice of life, if you will. But it's a whole different ball of wax. But
really flexing, the adaptability. Yeah.
And it's grown. And that's the thing, is it's getting so big. We actually repurposed one of our elementary schools to house our ECC and our virtual school. It's outgrown the building now.
Wow.
So we're in the process of working with the local church to actually purchase the church to run school out of the bottom of it and lease out the top back to the church. I mean, it's community. I mean, I don't know if to that right there, the town loves it, loves the idea. And we're there to be partners with them and do what we can do to work with everybody. I just try to get out of the way.
When you think about the future of Hamilton Community School, you've been building on this for 4 years. You're executing components of the strategic plan. You're doing the strategic partnership, finding different modalities. What does the next, 2, 3, 4 years look like?
So I will tell you, I like to be, how do I say this? Realistically cutting edge.
Yeah.
I don't live in the 30 years from now. I don't believe AI is running our life and we're just whatever, shell to ourselves type of stuff. Education's changing. We know that it's been, I hate when people say it's been stagnant for 125 years. I don't buy that. But I mean, it's usually been slow. At time where COVID hit and a lot of things had to change very fast.
Mm-hmm.
It made education change pretty doggone quicker than it probably normally would have. I remember when Google came, oh my gosh, the world's going to end. All the answers right in Google. AI's here. Oh, the world's over. With education. Might as well quit teaching. It's a tool. Yeah. We're still people. We're still humans. We got to make decisions. We got to lead people. We got to work with each other. So, we're gonna adapt to it. We're gonna improvise, adapt, and overcome. We're gonna use it. So, in a couple of years, where do I think it's going to go for Hamilton? Our goal is to really make that personalized curriculum. And when I look at that, is that every kid's going to come out. We're going to start working on that pathway. And so kids, they're doing their career inventory, and we're going to keep working. Now, they're not tracked. I hate the word tracked, but we're going to provide information for them along the way. So they're making educated decisions, not educated guesses. And that's the big difference, is that knowledge is key. And not along with the students too, but the parents. We're going to work to educate the parents along the way. So they're making educated guesses or educated decisions, not educated guesses.
Yeah.
So in that 2 to 4 year window, that's where we're going to be at. Either we're going to have more partnerships with local colleges. So we have students that want to do that. And with the transfer agreement in Michigan, they can take those college credits other places if they choose to do so. That's fine. For kids that want to go on the work base, they're going to have a number of opportunities through our tech center. That can be HEC, it's CDL, that's through our FFA program. They're going to have opportunities to grow that way. And so kids are going to be prepared for purpose. It's not just jumping through hoops anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, thank you so much, Bradford, for sitting down and chatting with us. I guess as we go to close here, for aspiring district leaders, maybe those that are in their first year as superintendent, is there any closing advice that maybe from your experiences that you shared with them?
So somebody that has survived 3 years and looking at that, I would say some of the best stuff I learned is I'm very happy I did the listen to learn to lead. I think listening shows some vulnerability, learning it, and then making educated decisions going forward is key. Along with that, some of the best advice I was told was, don't be afraid to make change. And that is, it runs parallel with that listen to learn to lead, but don't be gun shy to do that. If you can make things better, you got to move forward with that.
Yeah.
So those are my things that I would pass on to the somebody new.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Yeah. Good luck. Yeah. Again, thank you so much for sitting down with us, sharing your story, telling us a little bit about Hamilton. Great to hear about it. And hopefully we'll be able to have a conversation again soon.
Well, yeah, hopefully that's what you're looking for. It gives you a little insight and satisfies with, it's enjoyable.